overexposure to multimedia and digital stimulation, resulting in fatigue, anxiety, and depression. There's lots of studies that are surfacing around this concept, and we want to figure out how we can actually help solve this. Another great read called The Shallows, a new book that came out in May, written by Nicholas Carr, talks about this exact topic, what the internet is doing to our brain. We've seen an increase of 300% of information that we're exposed to. Our brains, our minds, our mental spaces are being bombarded daily. What is this doing to the brain structure and function, and how can we prevent detrimental effects to our mind, brain, and mental space? I'm going to attempt to walk you through the Mental Space Manager. This is our solution. I have an animation that I'd like to show you, assuming the volume works. So if you could bear with me. Oh, narrate this. This is you, the typical digital native. Hundreds of emails to surfing the web. You're constantly bombarded with digital information. Tweet, 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 tweet. Making sense of this information can often be tiresome and lead to techno-brain burnout. Someone might ask, how does this affect your mental space? A mental space is broken down into the following areas. Think of it as like the hard drive of your mind. It's broken down to relationship health. Are you in a healthy relationship? Mental health. Are you anxious? Are you depressed? Social health. Are you happy with work or school? Physical health. What are your diet and exercise patterns like? And gratitude health. What are you grateful for? The internet is constantly seeking the attention of your mental space. Have you ever thought about how your emotion and mood are affected by what you do online? For example, looking at your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend on Facebook, or just time spent online. We have a solution, the Mental Space Manager. It's a must-have tool for your online experience. Before you begin browsing the web, click on the timer and set how long you wish to be online. When your time expires, the timer will go off. You can either set more time, cancel the timer, or block the website. To block a website, set how long you wish to block it, why you're blocking the site, and the next time you try to access a blocked site, you'll get hit with a blocked web page. Using positive content, blocked pages can show quotes, images, and even videos. Using a ranking system, we'll be able to customize the content delivered to your mental space. Add content for additional features when logged into your account. But what happens when you want to unblock a site? Enter the email address of your mental network admin. This person has the ability to allow or deny your request to unblock a site. They'll receive an email, and you'll get an approved or denied status back to you via email. There are other ways to block sites too, category, shopping, pornography, etc. And then you can also adjust your mood, which is really important, because we want to figure out how your mood adjusts based on your blocking behaviors or the sites that you're going to. We'll be able to show you some data back on that. Now you feel refreshed, you're back into the sunshine. Your mental space is starting to feel like it's new again. All that digital fog is skimmed out of the way. You have more time to enjoy the fresh air and sunshine your brain, your mind, your mental space needs. What's in your mental space?
How do you do that? How do you sign up for it?
So currently we've been in business for 4 years. We're about to launch our beta site in January. So right now, if you go to mymentalspace.com, you can provide your email address to be signed up for our beta testing. So we're still a couple months out before you, the end user, can do that.
Okay, it's a very unique idea. It's just like a parental control system. how do you monetize this unique idea?
Well, the question was, it started off with, this seems like a very good opportunity for parents to control their children's internet behavior. And the second question was, how do you monetize this? I'll try to answer the questions at once. This isn't a parental control. This isn't an employer management tool. This is for everybody to be self-aware of their internet behaviors. How we monetize this, I don't quite know. I know this is a passion project, and a lot of us are confident that if we reach a critical mass and if we put something valuable to the masses, the money will come. Our first approach, though, is, if you notice on blocked pages, we provide you with randomized content that our team has vetted that we've deemed positive. When you add content to your mental space, you're asked two questions to the end user. What emotion does this represent, and what mental space area is this relevant to? What that could do for us is it could allow us to aggregate emotional attributes to content, providing us with standardized content sets to sell to researchers who are trying to evoke certain emotional responses, or advertisers and marketing people who want to get after those same kind of behavioral, subconscious decision making, that we can say, if you're looking to make your target market based on this project feel sad, use these images. We're not quite sure why they provoke, sadness or whatever the emotion that you're trying to evoke, but our data is showing that. Just a hypothesis at first.
This looks like an add-on to a browser, correct?
Correct.
How do you keep the software lean enough so it doesn't crash the rest of the browser, because you probably have half a dozen other things running in the browser at the same time?
Sure. The plugin itself, or add-on, depending on which browser you're in, is extremely thin. All of the code and the logic is stored in the middle layer through a web service call. So the plugin itself is very thin.
Mark, how soon would you make this available on a mobile device?
Great question. The question was, how soon would I make it available on a mobile device? Right now, all of our efforts have been on development for the last 2 years in very much your traditional basement garage efforts with part-time people who have full-time lives. So as soon as we get the website launched, in parallel with our efforts to get grant dollars for internet research, our hope is that with those monies, we can then get on to second phases of development, including mobile applications.
Any other questions? Sorry?
Have you looked at other competing ways of, or competing products for this? This seems like something that somebody would have done or come up with something similar to a while.
Yeah. The question was, have we looked at competing products? There are products that exist, such as RescueTime.com, which has a similar blocking mechanism for employers for productivity, small teams that want to be more productive. The main differentiator that I have not seen through all of our due diligence is when you block a site, that landscape that exists for you to dance and play around and get more interaction with is non-existent. If you go to a site that you're not allowed to in a network at your employer, it just says the site is blocked. On Rescue Time, if you go to that site, it says it's blocked. It just says black static page or a white static page that does nothing. That's where we feel that the experience between the end user of the person and the computer, that impulse to get online, we're going to intercept that impulse, provide you with content. Content to reinforce positive behavior and stop what is oftentimes detrimental, impulsive behaviors that corrupt your mental space. Yes?
Assuming that this is wildly successful,
Yes.
let's make that assumption, and we begin to get all this data on emotional behavior, are you prepared at this time of your warehouse to be able to monetize the value of that data? Do you have that back end figured out yet?
Yes. Fortunately, I have the privilege of coming from a technical background with being exposed on different application projects in the software development industry. And the technical team that I've been fortunate enough to align probably has 30 years of experience in database-driven, security-enabled applications. So I feel that although it's taken us long to get to that beta point over the last couple of years, we've built a quality product. We've taken in those considerations that any true kind of software application needs to take into account for in order to be successful and capture that data that will eventually be the currency of our system. Yes?
This could be outlined with your strategy to kind of try to get the market, because it seems like you have to educate people. You have to educate them. I was unaware of this situation, so it seems like you have to do some education first, and then you have to kind of convince them, well, this is the problem, or this is the solution. So I was wondering what your strategy as far as getting people to adapt.
The question is how do we get to the market, and more importantly, how do we penetrate the user's mind to let them know that they have a problem? This is probably the biggest problem that we're faced with and deals with a lot of fundamental issues and just addictive behaviors in general. And that's why I stress self-awareness. That's why this is a tool for self-awareness. Every other day, or every other article through a major media outlet daily has articles around this topic. Facebook use, kids that are just getting vegged out due to how much time they spend online. People in Korea dying from gaming for 36 hours straight. Dehydration and exhaustion. This is a real thing. The hope is that animation, which sounds a little bit better when I'm not dubbing over it through a microphone, I'm hoping that things like that will catch on virally, will become a viral video, that our site or our concept will be a rebuttal to an article that comes out on CNN or USA Today. Oprah references us maybe as a cool solution, and then overnight you can get that critical mass. But yeah, it is going to be, why do I have a problem? So, appreciate the time. If you go to mymentalspace.com, you can sign up to be a beta user. I appreciate any feedback.
Brendan?
We're all here because of the implied doom and gloom. Well, there's no future for Detroit, just carve Michigan off, let it fall into the lake. Well, Brendan's one of those unique individuals. He actually moved to Ann Arbor from the state of California. So there used to be life out there. It's now migrating back into the center. So Brendan, take it away.
Thanks. I'm here from Ann Arbor, and I actually already gave this talk at the D-NewTech meetup in September, so if you've already seen it, I apologize for boring you. But hopefully I'm expecting some really tough questions from you. So I'm here to talk today about StatsUp, which is a website I made to compare anything. First, just a little contact information. I did move from San Francisco, and I figured that Michigan was a great place to try to start a business. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, so all I do is just make websites, launch them, and try to get people to use them. My job. When I first moved to Ann Arbor, I lived with a bunch of lawyers in a sublet, and they had this nasty habit of trying to put all the internet stuff on one side of the house that was really far away from where all the computers were. And I had a desktop that had no way of getting internet access except for a cord, so I needed a wireless card. What do? Go to Amazon. I say, show me some wireless cards, Amazon. How do I know which one's best, though? And Amazon has this system that almost every single e-commerce site uses on the web, which is these stars. And these stars are annoying to me because it's a totally subjective system that they've made up on their own. And if you can see that, sometimes there aren't that many people that have actually come back and rated the product. Who buys something on Amazon, goes and uses it, and then comes back and rates it later? I've never done that in my entire life. And only 200 people have done it for that wireless card. So I said, let's look at Google. Google says there are 89,000 results for that specific wireless card. That's a lot more data than just the 200 people that went back to Amazon to rate it. So what I said was if I could take everything on Google that's good, minus everything that's bad, I would have a rating system that might actually mean something. And that's exactly what I did. So I'm going to show you guys a demo right now of the live site. This is stacksup.com right now, where you can do a search for something like a wireless card, and hopefully it will work. Yes. And you can compare it to anything else that you want. You're not restricted to compare a wireless card to a wireless card. You can compare it to a shoe or book. But once you have all of your stuff selected, you can just click Create a Comparison, and bam, it has done all this work for you, deciding on which of these wireless cards are the best, which ones are good, which ones are bad. Gives you a lot of data to work with, and you can do an arbitrary number of cards. You can, search for them and get all this great visual information. That's the idea behind Stacks Up, where you can see literally at a quick glance how one product compares to another without having to rely on one site's individual rating system. As you can see, I also go into like share of voice, any other metrics that I could come up with, like how often are these things mentioned on the web, and overall I just think it makes for a much better way of deciding on a product to buy when you know that you want to make a purchase. I've already had people use this to buy a new pair of shoes, to decide on electronics items, a new MP3 player, new phones. Those are all real cases that people have used this site for. So that is Stacks Up. Yeah, so any questions? I'm talking.
Sure,
How many people are using the service now?
So I had some free advertising with Google thanks to some coupons I found, and I got a couple hundred people using it with that. But now that I'm not monetizing it or advertising, I'm relying solely on SEO, and it gets about 50 page views a day. So it's very small traffic. But of those people, about a quarter of them are creating comparisons. Yeah.
what is your return rate? Do you have any way to track that?
Yeah, so I have analytics on every single page, so it's not great, but I'm obviously working on doing everything I can to get SEO and my funnel down and getting people using this.
A follow-up question to that, are you doing any sort of follow-up to reach back out to those
You mean like retargeting?
Yeah.
So actually, one of the companies that I used to work for does retargeting, so I've been talking with them about what we can do to try to improve that.
Is your site purely monetized through affiliate and AdSense? Are those affiliate links when they do the?
Yes. So the question was, what are my revenue streams essentially? So I'm showing ads, and I do have an affiliate account with Amazon.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, Amazon has a tier where if you do very few amounts of sales per month, it starts at 4% commission. But if you start to do more and more sales, it eventually reaches about 15%, which is really good.
So there's a lot of products out there. Do you think there's an opportunity, instead of focusing on really big, maybe you can go really niche, like you talked about wireless cards? I mean, purchasing products, especially tech-related online, I'm sure have a huge market, and there's a lot of data out there to support it, like how many different websites the average person looks at before make a purchasing decision. Do you think you could potentially say, you know what, let's just focus solely on a tech market for a while? Maybe you can go to some providers and have like sponsored products, paid, not necessarily advertising, but paid to put products up top, and go that route and see kind of what their response rate is versus just going and wait to see what people want to buy?
Yeah, so that is actually a really great idea, and one of the things that I will do moving forward. Right now, that is taken care of on the site through the use of categories, where there's the consumer electronics versus clothing versus that. But if you look at online t-shirt sales as a comparison, if you have a t-shirt site that caters to one demographic versus another demographic versus a t-shirt site that caters to everybody, those ones that target the demographic specifically do a lot better than the general one. So turning Stacks up into a lot of mini sites that each cater to a different vertical, like consumer electronics, I think would be a great direction to go with it. Yeah.
Do you have IP captured in some way, shape, or form for this product?
So that's an interesting question. Because I work by myself and for myself, I am still exploring that, and I need to find a good IP lawyer to talk to, I think.
So the secret sauce is in the algorithm in terms of...
Yeah, that's correct. I basically figured out a way to look at a bunch of, use search engines' own technologies and filter those and remix them and add and combine them to create the results that you saw.
So it's like some sensitive thing.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
What platform are you using for this one?
I'm using Google App Engine, which I can't really say enough good things about. One of the ways that I managed to pull this, all the websites I make off for cheap, is that Google App Engine is a freemium model where it's totally free, $0 until you start having tons and tons of traffic, at which point they expect that you'll be able to pay for it. So for right now, my hosting is totally free.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Kat's going to talk to you about Campus Commandos, and while she's getting wired up, Adam, the CEO, couldn't make it this evening, so I asked Kat, give me some little piece of background that makes you totally unique. Well, wouldn't you know, she has also moved here from California. So there went our unique factor. But when we were moving from San Francisco to Ann Arbor, now we've moved from Los Angeles to the greater Mission area. So. Okay, Kat Rambaki, Campus Commandos.
Thank you. Hi, so my name is Kat Rambaki, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Campus Commandos, which is a campus rep marketing agency based out of Techtown. Our founder and CEO is Adam Grant, and Adam paid his way through Michigan State University as a campus rep or a brand ambassador for multiple major brands you've probably heard of. But a campus rep is kind of a new concept. So if you're not familiar with that term, a campus rep is an enrolled student at a college that acts as a representative or a brand ambassador for your brand, creating social media buzz. They can generate lead cards and get people to sign up for your e-newsletters. They can customize events, coordinate and execute on events. They engage their peers, and they also coordinate with student organizations to get you involved in their events and to get you more access to students. This all sounds really great, but college marketing is a minefield, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you put your brand and your brand's reputation in the hands of a 19-year-old college student. These are real pictures. This really happens. So thankfully, Campus Commandos is here to help. We can infiltrate just about every area of campus life. We have access to all kinds of different student groups and campus events that we can get brands involved in so that they're really reaching out to their target demographic. And we also make sure that your brand and your image are protected because, as you can see, students can be live wires, so it's really important that we train them properly and we make them certified in your brand. And, of course, declare victory for your marketing campaign. So these are just a few of the projects that we're working on right now for clients. One is the That's All Giggle Gallery. It's for a greeting card company that makes really funny cards that are perfect for college students. So we're getting them involved in events inside actual classroom buildings where students can touch and feel the cards, they can read them, laugh with their friends. Another is Kogel Study Break, which will be coming up in the spring semester. We're actually letting students sample their hot dogs so that they can see what they actually taste like, again, get a personal interactive experience with the brand. And another is Campus Picks Ultimate Deal, which is a contest for a Groupon type site designed specifically for college students. We also use social media a lot in our marketing activities on campus, especially with Twitter, to get the word out about events that are coming up. And our website is campuscommandos.com. And of course, we have a Twitter account where you can follow Campus Commandos and also find out about things that are coming up on campus. We retweet a lot of campus events that are coming up to get the word out for our clients. Any questions?
I think that's a very fascinating idea and get my mind churning. So when you say you go out, you make college representatives certified in your client's brand, could you explain exactly what that means?
Sure, we put every student through a boot camp, it's Campus Commandos boot camp, where they learn everything they need to know about that brand so that they can convey their message accurately to their friends. And they also learn what's appropriate to do as a campus rep and what's not appropriate to do so that you don't see your Burger King rep doing beer bongs like on Facebook the next morning. So it's a really intensive boot camp program that gives them training on sales, effective ways to interact with their peers to market the brand, some social media training too, because everybody in college knows how to use social media, but they don't always know how to use it effectively. So they know how to put something on Facebook, but they don't always know the right thing to say to get the message out.
Sure, just to follow up,
Sure.
for more of the like in the field type promotions, how do you monitor or audit your, selected, certified college student?
Sure. The question was, how do we monitor students in the field? It's partly through reports that the students turn in after they execute on any particular event or activity, which includes photos, student feedback that they received from the event, and partly it's also just dropping in on them when there's an event coming up. So we can't always be there for every single event, but if they know that there's a chance we're showing up, they're more likely to be consistent at every event. We do show up sometimes without letting them know in advance, just to check up on them and make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing and help if they need help with something.
I have a question. How do you vet who becomes a representative? And the reason I ask that is, I know a lot of kids that are in college. I was there too. I would do anything for money. But I see, that was funny, right? But I see a concept like this working really well when you take the idea of influencers and move them into campus. You could have someone that's the perfect example of a brand ambassador, but if they don't know anyone, and in some cases they're not popular, I could see the program falling flat on its face. So have you guys come up with a system to kind of vet the right candidates to be these people that work on behalf of brands?
We have, that's a great question. The question was, how do we vet students, decide who's going to make a great campus rep, make sure that they're involved, not just hardworking, but they know other people on campus and they can get involved with events and really engage their peers. And it's really an intensive application process. We start by using our networks in departments that we already know, so going through like career services and student life to find out who the students are that are working a lot with those departments, and student groups like student government and other club leaders like club presidents, vice presidents, the e-board, to find out who really is involved on campus and who knows what's going on campus. And of course, we allow general applications as well, so anyone could apply, but then it's up to us to really make sure that they know what's going on campus, that they can tell us a lot about events that are coming up on their campus. That's a huge part of the application process, like what events would you get this client involved in, asking them questions about things that are coming up on their campus.
I was curious, it seems like a good idea with the fact checking and everything. And making sure you're doing your thorough due process, but it kind of conflicts, it seems like, with scaling and making this be able to scale and go further on? How do you kind of make those two connections as far as being thorough with your checks and scaling?
Sure. The question was, how do we scale it? Because we can't really be there every single time. Obviously, we have to be able to scale this to more than just 2 people, what it is right now. And part of that is in the training and the other people that we bring on, so that we can train other people to do exactly what we do. And the other part of it is through unique items that we have that are called campus intelligence reports. And they're completed by each of our reps after we've worked on a particular campus, and it has everything you could ever want to know as a marketer about that campus. So not just the basic facts of how many students are there, what are the buildings on campus, what's the calendar of events look like, but really things that only students working on that campus would know, so that we can keep those on file. We update them every semester, and anyone who is working on a campaign on that campus could look at that file and know exactly what needs to happen on that campus and how they could monitor a rep that was working there. Anyone else?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are standing and sitting in front of somebody who's actually appeared on that show. So. We'll see if Judy wants to tell you about the episode with Kiss. I'm not quite sure what rating we have on some of the stories, so that's up to her. Judy Davids.
Hi, everybody. I was on James Simmons Family Jewels this past summer. I'm also in addition to being an entrepreneur and working at Techtown, I also am in an all-mom rock band called the White Owls, and we did an entire episode with Gene, and I got to sit on his lap in the back of a minivan, so it's kind of wonderful. And let me touch his tongue. So I'm here today to talk about Postagram, and we're another Business U business, and Business U funds ideas like John's, which are really complicated, and also ideas like Postagram, which are very simple. And I will tell you a little bit about Postagram. Postagram is a Facebook application. And what we do is we take we allow you to share your Facebook news and photos, and up to 15 people in your family's news and photos in a printed newsletter, which we print. It's all done digitally by computer. There's no templates. There's nothing you have to do. We'll drop that in the mail, and we'll send it to somebody you love that is not on Facebook. Most of our recipients are 70, 80, 90 years old, and they are not on Facebook. So our target demographic is what we call a Facebook mom. This is all female, in the age between 40 and 50. She's an avid Facebook user. On Facebook today, I checked before I left, in the United States alone, there's over 12 million women in this age group on Facebook. And the thing that Facebook moms would have in common to want Postagram is they would know somebody or have somebody they love that's not on Facebook. And we did a lot of market research, and we asked women, and they, I want to say 70% of them, I don't have the exact number, I can't remember it, but said that they have somebody they love that's not on Facebook that they wish they were. And then the other thing Facebook moms have, well, they're moms, so of course they have kids, and many women in this age group will also have grandchildren. And so the problem that we solve is we sort of bridge the technology or the sort of the communication generation gap between tech-savvy children and tech-leery grandparents. And I, myself, am a Facebook mom, and part of the reason I came up with this idea is I was so frustrated. My mother-in-law was like Facebook 1.0. She was like the original status updater. She was the person that we all called, and she would tell us what was going on in the family. And then Facebook came along, and we were, everybody, all the out-of-state relatives, we were all online talking to each other. And over time, the person that was the most connected to the family became the least connected. And it really broke my heart. So this is actually a real postagram here. This is what it looks like. It's 12 full-color pages. We only include status updates and photographs, no comments. It's completely, you could actually set up an account. It starts at $5 a month. You could set up an account and just forget about it. But if you're like most people, you probably have one relative that you have to babysit. That's the relative that has the picture of them with the beer bong or whatever. You can remove photographs, you can remove comments, you can also add personal notes. So just continuing really quickly, just some highlights. We were funded by Wisdom U on April 1st. We launched our application in May. Some of our highlights to date are Quicken Loans, and just in terms of full disclosure here, Dan Gilbert, who is the founder of Quicken Loans, is also the founder of Wisdom U. And Quicken Loans bought 3,000 Postagram subscriptions, and they're getting them away over the next several months in a Thanks a Million campaign. We also, Grandma's not the only one that's not online. Military personnel can have this problem, not all of them. If you're stationed on an army base in Germany, you don't have this problem, but if you're in a submarine, you definitely, they have radio silence, and those guys are really out of the loop of what's happening. So we just did a program with the Michigan Army National Guard, and they've got 330 postograms. And in terms of PR, I guess we're just a cute enough idea that we tend to get a lot of media coverage. We're in the current issue of Women's Day. The big story is staying in touch, and they list us as a web way to stay connected. And I am very excited to say that we'll be talking to Walt Mossberg of All Things Digital and the Wall Street Journal next week, and he's interested in doing something on Instagram. So that's it. Questions? Yes?
I was just wondering what you think the state is of your competitors, because this is an idea I've heard a lot recently. I can name several ones, including Michigan ones off the top of my head.
Oh, really? That's like, that actually prints Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We've never heard it. Can you tell me who they are?
Yeah, there's one, I think it's Grand Rapids based, it's called Downstream. I think they're starting with Twitter, but they're moving to Facebook soon. And there's a Silicon Valley one called StatusBound.
It's interesting. We did tons of research. We found similar things, like there's a company called Presto and a company called Sunnygram. Sunnygram, you can send email, you send an email to Sunnygram and then they print it out and send it to Grandma. Presto is a thing that just is like a fax machine in Grandma's house. But I haven't heard of either of those. That's interesting, and we search all the time.
Great idea. This is more of just kind of an idea as far as I feel like a sticking point would be the $5 a month, just to get people to even justify why they want to do this. Have you looked at a free subscription where you can just send your postograms electronically, then maybe have like the draft overlay on them, so even if you do print them, you're not getting that kind of that final quality, or just a better way to, like, because even though the grandmas don't go on Facebook, there's still a good chance that they do check email maybe, and Facebook's just too complicated. But another way to at least digitally spread Postagram before a competitor does?
Yeah, right now we just do print. Right now our recipients, they don't, our recipients are 75 and older in most cases. We have clients that are like 90 years old. And statistically, like something like only 17% of people over the age of 75 have computers. So I understand what you're saying, but right now the people that get ours, they don't have computer technology at all. And just looking at some of our competitors, part of their trouble was any kind of technology throws people off. Like the Presto thing, which is like a fax machine, they still have trouble. The seniors don't know how to change the ink on it and things like that. But yeah, that's a good idea. But yes.
As somebody who's had grandparents live in this house before, grandkids often are reading to them or spending time with them, whatever. Have you ever thought of doing, I guess, sort of an email blast to their caretakers or their family members so they could help them go through this as opposed to just relying on paper for them, for the individual grandparents there? So it's, I guess, more of a family thing, or they could share it with somebody?
I'm sorry, so you're saying?
I'm just saying is when I was growing up, I remember my grandparents living with us. And we always, we'd like read with our grandparents or spend time with them, whatever. Have you ever thought of creating an email version of this so you could send it to, say, the grandkids or their kids who are more technologically adept? And that way they could, it's already put into an easy form so they can share it with them at that point. It's just a way of involving more people or,
right.
or cutting down printing costs even.
Yeah. Yeah, no, at this point we're just doing the printed versions. Yes.
What measures do you take to address privacy concerns? So for example, grandkids who block their Facebook moms.
If you block your mom, you're also blocked in this. And we get permission of everybody that's in the Postagram. They have to sign onto it. And we also we send out a reminder 48 hours before it goes out so that you can have time to think about looking at it and removing anything that you think is inappropriate or offensive or whatever, or that you don't want her or him to see. Yeah.
You mentioned that your target, the people that use it on the receiving end are 70s, 80s, 90s. So I'm thinking in 10, 20, maybe
Yes.
years from now, what's your plan?
Right.
There 100.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's a really good question. And there also in 10 years there may not be a Facebook either. So we have to constantly stay on top of what's happening and change. But I will say this: I have a mom who is on a computer, and over time I'm sure there's plenty of 90-year-olds out there that you can know how to use a computer, but over time they do stop. It's just, for my mom, it's like the next release of Windows that comes out, she's done. She doesn't want to learn one more operating system. So, but I think the bigger worry for us is that Facebook will get bigger and evolve into something different. But yes, definitely a concern of ours.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Food at the back, there's some bottles of water. But I encourage everyone, if you have a chance, please stay around, chat with our speakers, ask some more questions. They love questions. Network for a little bit. Our next event is December 1st. Stay tuned to the website to see where we'll be. Does anyone in the audience have any announcements they want to make about any events that they are involved with? Yes, the back.
I don't need the mic, it's pretty loud.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandon Chestnut. I'm the local organizer for Startup Weekend. If you're familiar with Startup Weekend, started out in Boulder, now it's in Seattle, it's a nonprofit. Basically, it's like the whole concept of building a company, but you do it in 54 hours. We have our third event next weekend at Tech Town. I see a lot of familiar faces. Ms. Maria here will be there speaking on behalf of Wisdom. Quicken Loans is a big sponsor of the event. We got some exciting news today thanks to the Business Accelerator for Michigan, or Business Accelerator Network for Michigan, which is Tech Town, Automation Alley, OU Macomb, Incubator, and Ann Arbor Spark. We have a $5,000 cash prize we're giving away to the winning team. So those of you who know who've been to the Gambit, that can get you off and running pretty quickly. So I know a lot of you are in the grind right now, probably don't even have enough time to be sitting here, but if you know anyone that may be interested in flexing their creative muscle or participating in another project, we're looking for some more developers, graphic designers, anybody. $75 to come, but it gives you 7 meals on the entire weekend. Plus we're going to have some great speakers. We have people from Momentum out in Grand Rapids coming down to come talk about what they're working on. We're going to have an awesome panel of judges and a good chance to hang out. And it's right down the road in Tech Town. So I'll be hanging around if you have any questions and we can chat about it.
Any other announcements? Okay.
There is one actually in Michigan Emerging. It's taking place on 17. Yeah, 17. Actually, it's a great place for entrepreneurs as well as startup companies to kind of get an idea what the state's doing in regards to entrepreneurship. Actually, it's also Entrepreneurship Week as well during that week. So come and participate.
On behalf of Detroit New Tech, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you a month from now. Thanks.